Ayy, look, yeah, ayy. I'm in the lab like Dexter, brand new batch he tested. I'm with all the extras, don't try and bitch, I'm pressure. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers. I'm the type to step on steppers, I'm the type to step on steppers.
Let's go ahead and move on to a team that's surprised everybody in the league, which is the Sacramento Kings. With them now being the second seed in the Western Conference, how dangerous of a team are they come playoff time?
You don't like this team. You don't want to see them come playoff time, man. And the thing about the Kings is, like, you have this misconception about them that you think, we can go toe to toe with them offensively, but this is the best offense in the league by a lot of metrics, and a lot of advanced stats. You go by a lot of metrics, and you go by the stats, and you go by their offensive rating and just how they play, even just by the eye test. And this is the best offense in the league for a reason. Mike Brown came in and re-implemented a Golden State type of style, using guys like Kevin Huerter kind of like in a Klay Thompson type of fashion. And, guys using guys like Keegan Murray and then Sabonis with dribble handoffs. Like, their offense is really complex and just beautiful to watch, man. Every time you watch the Kings game, like, the rock is always moving. Guys are always moving off the ball. There's loads of shooting. This seems very, very dangerous come playoff time. And they have the most clutch point guard in the NBA this season in De'Aaron Fox. They absolutely are scared of nobody. De'Aaron Fox can go toe to toe with any point guard in this league, especially in the fourth quarter. Like, they're that difficult. I would not want to see this team come playoff time. I don't know why people have this idea that it doesn't matter that they're young and they don't really play defense like that. They don't have an anchor. They can outscore you easily. They could put one night you blink once, they're putting up 130 on you just like that. That's how dangerous the Kings are. I think they're a team that nobody wants to see. And for some reason, a lot of people want them. I guess the reason why is out of the top 4 teams in the West, they're probably, like, quote unquote, the weakest.
Nah. Let me say this: as a Laker fan, I want to see Memphis. I respect Sacramento more than Memphis. That's all I got to say.
Of course, you're gonna say that. You just say that because you don't like Dylan Brooks. That has nothing to do with it. Like, no, come on, bro. This is the Grizzlies, man. We're forgetting. This is still Ja Morant, the Grizzlies, man.
They got some holes in their defense, bro. Trust. Those guys.
And what the hell do the Kings have?
Kings,
the Grizzlies have a top 2, top 3 defense in the entire league. They have Jaren Jackson Jr., defensive player of the year candidate.
Slated, bro. Slated, bro.
Defensive
player on
player
the opposite side of the court. If he touches the player jersey, they count it as a block.
Nah, defensive player of the year right there. They have the top 3 defense in the league, but the Kings, on the flip side, they have one of the best offenses, if not the best in the entire league, and they're a very dangerous team come playoffs, man.
That's facts, though. I agree with you. Kings, I said it a couple weeks ago too. I feel like once these guys make the playoffs, people bring up, hey, these guys don't have it. They haven't played in any playoff games, or they haven't been here. Man, it doesn't matter. Once you go toe to toe with guys overtime, your star player De'Aaron Fox is one of the best fourth quarter overtime guys in the end. You can't say much. You got guys to compliment him with Sabonis, Malik Monk, Huerter. Harrison Barnes surprisingly has stepped up this year as well. Guys like Keegan Murray, Davion Mitchell, they have a lot of pieces on that team. So for me, I feel like they're no slouch in the playoffs, especially if they face a team like first round. If they see Dallas or a team like, Minnesota maybe, or, I feel like they have a great chance to beat them. Even the Clippers or teams like the Lakers, they still can beat those teams in the first round. So to say these guys, I want them first round, you're setting yourself up. There's a lot of hoopers on that team, followed by a great coach, Mike Brown. He's been in, coaching with the Warriors for a good minute. Coach LeBron James as well, so he knows the systems, he knows the ins and outs, and he got these guys rocking. So I want to say, hey, these guys are easy matchup in the playoffs, but they're no slouch, and they're hooping right now.
I won't go as far as to say they're an easy matchup, but on a scale from 1 to 10, how dangerous are they? I would give them probably like a 7, just because of how explosive and how high scoring of a team they can be. But my issue always comes down to experience at the end of the day. In the postseason, it doesn't matter how great of a team you are in the regular season. It's a different type of atmosphere. It's a different type of basketball being played. And I feel like with the Sacramento Kings not being there for so long, I think that's just gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt them massively when Mike Brown has to shorten his rotations. That's what happens come postseason time. Teams have to shorten their rotations, and you can't just necessarily bench your guys for 6-7 minutes after the first quarter, because at the end of the day, whatever lead you had going into that second quarter, it might be gone within a couple of minutes, and then you're forced to call a timeout, and then you're forced to bring back your guys, and you're gonna have to try to kickstart another run, and then in the playoffs, anything can happen. And of course, the argument can go both ways, but just their lack of experience for me, doesn't necessarily move me enough to go ahead and say, you know, the Kings are like one of the dangerous teams in the NBA. You know, I'll go ahead and give them a 7 on my scale, but I do respect them as a basketball team. I do respect what Mike Brown's doing as a head coach. I mean, I think he's going to be the runaway favorite for Coach of the Year, because at the beginning of the season, nobody had this team even coming close to the playoffs. You know, people maybe said they're going to be a dangerous team for the play-in tournament, but for them to be sitting at the 2 seed and going up and down between number 2 and number 3 with the Memphis Grizzlies just shows how great of a team they are and how great they've been playing this entire season. But I feel like if they run into an experienced team, for example, let's say if they play the Clippers, or if they play the Warriors, or somehow, some way they end up matching up with the Los Angeles Lakers, I think that those teams can cause a lot of problems, and you know, potentially those series can end in like 5 or 6 games at most. But that'll be a lot of credit for the Sacramento Kings, of course, because like I said, nobody had them even going this far. But for them to be pushing teams to the limit, that's all you can really ask for. But and for them, when you compare them to the Memphis Grizzlies, I don't know. I wouldn't, you know, I'm not the biggest Memphis Grizzlies guy. I'm not a fan of their franchise or their ball club whatsoever, but they're a legit team as well. But, you know, I think if those two teams matched up in the playoffs, you know, it'd be an interesting series. But with Memphis having so much more experience than Sacramento Kings, that's where I'd give him the edge. Experience is huge come postseason time, and a lot of people don't necessarily put emphasis on that. You know, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you've never been on the brightest stage, you've never been on the biggest stage in the postseason before, you know, you might not be that player you once were in the regular season on a Tuesday night in Detroit, where you're putting up, you know, 25, 30 points. So I think the Sacramento Kings are a dangerous team, but not as dangerous as people think.
Record a new hit, then we making us a film. Wouldn't sign a deal if I got a couple mil. Been in the lab, now they throwing out deals. Me and now Lakes, now that's overkill.